told my dad he chose between me and his fiancée when he prioritized her surgery over mine. My dad and I have never really been close. My parents got married after I was born because they thought it would be better for me or whatever, but they split when I was 11. That was right after my dad went to rehab. While he was there, he met his current fiancée, and now they have a 6-year-old daughter together. Ever since then, he's basically been a ghost in my life. Like, I'd say he's shown up to maybe half of my important stuff since the divorce. Dance recitals? Nope. School awards? Too busy. My 16th birthday? Had to work late. A couple years ago, I got diagnosed with scoliosis. At first, the doctor said I wouldn't need surgery, just physical therapy and checkups. But my spine kept curving worse and worse, and eventually they were like, yeah, you need surgery. So they scheduled it for November 20th of this year. I told my dad about it months in advance because I wanted him there. I actually needed him there. This wasn't some dance competition or graduation ceremony. This was actual surgery on my spine. I told him how scared I was and how much it would mean if he showed up for once. He promised me he'd be there, swore up and down that he wouldn't miss it. Then, like a month before the surgery, he texted me saying he'd planned this vacation with his fiancée and her family that would keep him gone until mid-December, right when my recovery would be ending. I cried for like 2 hours after reading that text, but I didn't even argue with him. I was used to it by that point. I just said okay and tried to prepare myself to go through it without him. But then 2 hurricanes hit the place where he was supposed to go on vacation. He texted me saying the trip was canceled and that he'd definitely make it to my surgery now. For the first time in years, I actually let myself get excited. I thought maybe this was finally it. Maybe he'd actually show up when I needed him. A week before my surgery, he texted me again. His fiancée's lung cancer surgery had been scheduled for the exact same day as mine. Same day, just a few hours earlier, at a hospital that was 30 minutes away from mine. He said he might not make it to my surgery because of the timing. Then he added this line that I'll never forget. He said this isn't about who I love more. Like he felt the need to say that, as if that somehow made it better. I completely broke down. I was sitting on my kitchen floor reading that text over and over, and I just lost it. I realized that no matter what I did or how much I hoped, I was never going to be his priority. His other family would always come first. I sat there crying for probably an hour before I could even move. After I calmed down, I texted him back. I told him how much he'd hurt me and how tired I was of getting my hopes up just to have him crush them. I asked him if his fiancée's surgery had really been scheduled last minute like he claimed, or if he'd known earlier and just didn't tell me. I said I needed him to show me he was my dad through his actions, not just empty promises. He responded saying the surgery really was only scheduled the day he told me. But here's the thing, my dad has lied to me before to make himself look better, so I didn't believe him. I actually reached out to someone who might know the truth, and I'm still waiting to hear back. I sent him another message after that. I made it clear that I wasn't mad at his fiancée. She has cancer. Of course her surgery is important, but I was mad at him for the pattern, for years of being absent and making excuses. I told him that even if everything he said was true, he could have at least acted like he cared about how this affected me. He could have said something other than, it's not about who I love more. I told him I hoped he'd be a better dad to my half-sister than he'd been to me, because she deserved better than what I got. In my last message, I told him I was done. I said I wasn't going to keep trying to have a relationship with him all by myself anymore. If he wanted to be my dad, I would be his daughter. But if he didn't, that was fine too. I wasn't going to beg him anymore. He never responded. It's been over a week now, and nothing. Part of me hopes he's actually sitting there thinking about what I said instead of just ignoring it like usual. But honestly, I'm not holding my breath. The surgery happened. My mom was there. My stepdad was there. Even my best friend showed up with flowers. My dad didn't. I woke up from anesthesia, and the first thing I did was check my phone to see if he'd texted. Nothing. Not even a hope it went well message. My mom saw me checking and just held my hand. She didn't say anything, but I could tell she was mad at him too.